And and we're live. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Film Trooper Presents Film Marketing Fridays. And this is a very different session. Usually I have like slides prepared and questions, but we're kind of doing this all on the cuff, all live with our guest filmmaker, Jamie Francis. Why don't you say hi to everybody, Jamie?
Hi.
Hey, there he is. So Jamie, he's on his phone and everything like that. He's like, I don't know, I never used this before. Let's see if this works. So for those of you new to Film Marketing Fridays, my name is Scott McMahon. I'm a fellow film trooper, and over at Film Trooper, we try to help filmmakers become entrepreneurs. More specifically, trying to help the uber independent filmmaker make and sell their films online, and finding more sustainable ways of doing that. So today we're going to kind of go over this project that Jamie's working on and see if we can't brainstorm the next steps. So Jamie, why don't you give us a heads up of what this film is, and a little bit of background behind it, and what we talked about, online, on emails and so on, about like how can we take it to the next step in terms of maybe doing a crowdfunding effort for the back end of stuff. So go ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, what's the name of the
Uh,
film?
the movie's called The Wrong People, and it's basically a we've be kind of it's a kidnapping gone wrong movie. Um, Kind of bumbling criminals
Mm-hmm.
um that get wrapped up in this kind of a scheme, like a kidnapping scheme, and then obviously stuff goes wrong. And yeah, that's basically the really lame summary. I'm not the writer, so I'm more the mumbler. So
Now,
uh,
the screenshot here is that I can't. Is that you or your brother?
that's my twin brother Dan. So
There you go. See, look, I mean, you guys are, yeah. I want to make sure I got that right.
yeah, he's the main character and the writer, and I'm more of the behind the scenes shy guy. But
Okay. Cool.
yeah,
Okay, cool. A kidnapping gone wrong, which is perfect. That's all you need to say. The wrong
it's kind
people.
yeah, it's kind of a mix between we've been kind of promoting it loosely as Fargo meets sort of like a slap shot because it's got a bit of a hockey sports tinge to it, but I mean, it's very small. So
Yeah, and you can let people know you're based out of British Columbia, Canada.
yeah,
Is that correct?
we're on Vancouver Island,
There you
BC.
go. On the west side. I'm here in Portland, Oregon, so we're kind of
Yeah,
all in the Pacific
same
Northwest
area.
together. Yeah.
Yeah, Portland's great. Portland's amazing. We were down there about last year, I guess. It's great.
Nice, nice. I have to, well, when I get up to, my wife and I want to get up to, our family wants to get up to Vancouver Island as well. So I have to get my passport in order. But when we do that, I will text you, let you know I'm in town.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So anyway, so you have this film. Is it finished? And you kind of tell us where you are in the production of things, and what the kind of the question you were asking about, like maybe do we go crowdfunding for the tail end of things?
Yeah. Well, we've made pretty much made the movie. It's post production. Little bits and pieces of shooting still needed, but no like major scenes. Um, and yeah, we made it for about $500, like
Good,
the cube,
good.
kind of using that as an inspiration. And we we're kind of in this thing where we don't necessarily need to crowdfund, but I've been researching crowdfunding for a while and seen some campaigns do things really well, and then also some that don't do very well. And I see it as more of a chance to build an audience, and um, so kind of going from that angle, not necessarily needing a ton of money necessarily, but more of like you've mentioned a few times, how why not? Where's the line of, can we use it and leverage it for sort of building an audience, or like maybe even making a profit? And
Hmm.
I've always kind of intrigued by you've mentioned that a few times, and yeah, just that's sort of where we're at. We've been thinking of just making a small um, goal of, say, again, $500, maybe just for some festival submissions or some kind of release type schedule thing where help to pay for some of the aggregator fees or something like that. That's me
Yeah.
rambling.
No, that's good. So the interesting thing about this is, yeah, I'm not an expert on the crowdfunding at all. It's just like my perspective of it and, analysis of it as well. In my takeaway from it is that, it depends on what you want to get out of it. Like you
Mhm,
said, there's a clear goal in mind. And from the perspective of an entrepreneur, or people that have used entrepreneurs that have used crowdfunding, I've seen a lot of case scenarios where they actually had the product finished or
mhm,
near finished. And sometimes there's a lot of crowdfunding services out there. There's not just Kickstarter. There's not just, Indiegogo. There's a lot of them right now. And
mhm,
it's just a way to facilitate the experience from your backers or your supporters. So if we take it from the perspective of someone who's stumbling upon your campaign, what is the experience? What is the message? What is the reason that they, read, watch, are and shown what you're offering that makes them decide, I will now donate. I will hand over money for this
mhm.
campaign. And then we look at it from that perspective, we're looking at it as an experience, the user, the customer experience. And the way some of these online entrepreneurs sometimes look at things is that everything kind of revolves around a launch, a product launch.
Mhm.
Jeff Walker of the Product Launch Formula is, famous for this. There's a great book called Launch, highly recommended by Jeff Walker. Um, the concept here is that every little thing you have, every little piece of event that you're making on your film has an opportunity to become this little mini launch event. So you finish your script. So maybe you have to do a little effort to have like a little event, a little celebration event online, but it's aimed to try to get more people interested in what you're doing so you can collect email addresses. You're trying to build a loyal following
Mhm.
on the projects you have. I noticed on your website for the wrong people, thewrongpeoplemovie.com, it's great. You have an offering, like you enter your email address to, keep up to date our newsletter, always offering that. Now, the job is to market for more leads to get them on that email list. And
Yeah.
having a launch of any kind is designed to do that. So, where crowdfunding is a lot of effort because you're basically pushing a product launch or a service launch. The thing is, a lot of filmmakers, like, it's 30 days, 60 days of their life, if not more. We're just like constantly hustling, trying to make their goals and trying to make the fulfillment.
Mhm.
Um, um, but it's interesting because I've donated to several crowdfunding campaigns and I have yet to see any product delivered to me. So collectively, there's this thing where enough bad apples out there, let's say, could ruin it for the rest of us
Yeah.
because I have not seen a film, I haven't got any of my perks, and you'll read stories like anything, like they don't come through. They
Yeah.
just fail. They take the money and run basically,
Mhm.
and so it's important from a consumer standpoint, an experience as a consumer. It'd be nice to
Mhm.
know, like, hey, guess what? The film is finished. That is cool. Like, I can give you the film right now because, but I want to do more for you. We need your help because we're going to do this. So your marketing message could be, yeah, we need the finishing funds. This is our plan. We're going to be, sending it off to this festival, or we're going to use an aggregator to get it onto these platforms, or we need funds for the celebration launch. Like, we're going to have a live theatrical premiere, but we need to pay for the theater. We need to, and all the events that come from it, and these are the perks you get for helping us contribute. One, you get the film, like you're not going to not, you can almost address like, in the past, you may have been burned by other crowdfunding campaigns, or there have been notorious other crowdfunding campaigns don't make the film and don't
Mhm.
fulfill the perks. And it's like, that's your unfair advantage. You already have a film that's pretty much done. You just need the finishing funds for it. And you explain that it's a little bit more viable because in that way you can utilize your goals to maybe backtrack expense wise. If the film costs you $500, Oh, I'm sorry, my nose is itchy from the allergies. Um, if you have start with $500, then we can look at that as sort of like part of the business structure. Let me find this. I want to show you this graph real quick that might help, and we can kind of look at this. Everybody, kind of hang with me for a second. We're going to look at this particular graph that helps us get a better idea of. Sorry about this. The suspense is killing us. I want to basically show like basic business of a part of a pie chart, and knowing that you've already finished the film product or the advertisement, we can kind of get into that a little bit more. Then you can better strategize what your next steps are going to be in terms of why a crowdfunding campaign might be perfect for what you're trying to do.
Hmm.
All right, let me see here. I'm going to put this one down. I'm going to bring this puppy over. Look at this. This is all on the fly. So not ready here. Okay. I just want to show this one chart here. Where is it? And it's right here. Okay. All right, guys. The suspense is killing you, I know. All right. So let's take a look at a pie chart of basic business. So you see that. Do you see this on your end? This picture? The pie?
Yeah,
There it is. Okay.
takes a
So
little bit.
so let's imagine you have an overall, you're going to have an overall operating expense. In every business, there is a product or service offering. So this might be your film product. Okay. So let's say it represents 50% of your overall operating expense. Then you need to raise another 30% for your marketing efforts, maybe another 10% for your distribution, and there's business development and taxes, another 10%. So let's say, just hypothetically, you have $1,000. That's your operating budget. You decide to make your film like you did for $500. So you have, this is a feature film too, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's going to be 70 to 80 minutes. So
Yeah, it's a
it's
feature film.
short.
Anything nowadays, anything over like 65 minutes, you're almost like a feature film. So you got a
Yeah.
feature film for $500. So that could represent 50% if you look at it as a film product. Then you need to raise another $300 for marketing, another $100 for distribution, another $100 for taxes and business development. So what you do with that, you can kind of, you can decide like, well, what if we switched it and we just said maybe the film product's not the actual product. Maybe our film is the marketing. Like
Mhm.
our feature film, if it's used as an advertisement, we can help promote something of a higher price point instead of selling it online for a 99 cents rental or a $4, purchase or a $5 purchase or even a $20 purchase. Can we use our film as a marketing device to sell something at a higher price point, like a $100 product? So this way, you can say, okay, I've made $500 that went 30% into my budget. I'm going to have to raise money through the crowdfunding for distribution, business development, and maybe the actual $100 product. Or everybody's confused a little bit, like, what the hell are you talking about? The film is an advertisement type thing. So what I'm getting at here is you followed me enough to know that
Mhm.
I've come to understand that Hollywood is not in the business of making films or TV. They're in the business of controlling licenses or
Totally.
license exploitation, which is
Mhm.
why, I always use the case scenario. If you had the Star Wars license like George Lucas did, what would you do with that license? You would sell it for $1 billion to Disney. And once Disney got that license, what do they do with that license? They're making
Print money.
theme they're making the movie, they're making theme parks, they're making offshoot TV shows and more toys, everything. They are exploiting the license to the nth degree. So if
Mhm.
you look at your film as a intellectual property, so you have the wrong people, even on the smallest scale, you can decide like we are going to exploit this license. And it's really the way we can exploit it is that it's going to be used as an advertisement in the same way that Paramount used the Transformers movies as an advertisement for the toys, the action figures it sold.
Mhm.
Not to say that you had to create a wrong people action figure, although that'd be kind of cool, right? That'd be kind of cool. But what you could do is take your film and then decide like, what $100 product can we help promote? with our film. So
Mhm.
tell me a little bit about the film. I know you're not the writer, but you know enough about it. What are the themes of your film, or what do you think some of the unique selling propositions of your film are that in the story? And then maybe we kind of draw out some ideas here of how it could be used as an advertisement for something of a higher price point. So let's
Mhm.
start with that. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the film, what you think the theme might be, or other unique selling propositions that it might include?
Hmm. Um, well, it's sort of like what I mentioned before, is there's a bit of a hockey angle. There's kind of like we've built a world of a sort of a, Wayne Gretzky type um, type guy who's, done really well, and that's sort of our kind of background main guy, not the main character, but just kind of it centers around his um, fortune, basically.
So is
And
it? Oh, keep going.
and but then there's also a very heavy like family theme. Um, our main character is um, trying to connect with his, well, dead father, really, and trying to kind of make good on his dreams and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't. There's those are the kind of the two angles I would try to explore if I
Okay,
was thinking about this.
sure.
I'd have to think a little deeper because I'm
Yeah, on the spot. But no, see, these
yeah.
are good things to think about. So I'm going to throw this up there so you can see this, right? So this is, like I said, there's no prepared slides on this one. We're going to kind of work this as a workshop. So you have the wrong people. You have a hockey theme or hockey element, you know,
Mhm.
but it's made in Canada. So there's that aspect of it, that's unique. Um, you kind of talked about, is it a redemption story to some extent? Is there
Um,
the theme of
Sort of. Um, it's
you're like, hmm.
yeah, it's hard. It's hard to.
Well, let me ask you the
Yeah.
easy ways to get to this, not to give away the ending and stuff like that. The transformation, the journey that your protagonist goes through,
Mhm.
um, the lesson that they learn in the story. Um, what is that lesson?
I would say, like, to simplify it would be that he learns to sort of forge his own path,
Okay.
um, and like kind of not live in the past and live other people's lives. And it's
Okay. Well, here you go. Check this out. So you have these are just two things that would just come out of this brainstorming. You have a hockey element as well as being, made in Canada, the film with all the scenery and all the elements. Then you also have forge your own path as possibly the theme. So from this, what I'm getting at is from that chart again, is like what sort of product uh, of like at least $100 worth that can be added as part of your added bonus to the film package. And when we get to this concept, it's what we're seeing. Even VHX just recently came out with like 30 days, like this email
Mhm.
series that you can look at from all their data they've collected of what works and what doesn't work when selling your film through
Mhm.
their portal. Um, and they specialize in bundles. And the reason the bundles work is something like this. I have another graph to show you, so I don't have all this stuff, but I will show. Wait, do I have this? Sorry, I have to keep looking for the wrong one. so, the way it works is your film being the advertisement part of it. It's like the initial low price offering of your whole business plan,
Mhm.
that whole business chart we showed, and it uses that opportunity to sell a bigger idea. So we talked about forge your own path. So that might be a theme. So what products are are emotionally connected to forge your own path? Um, then there's the hockey element. Maybe there's some products or things that are in the movie that already exist. You just have to look at it, that you couldn't necessarily do something as simple as this, is saying like, hey, buy our film you can rent it for 99 cents or buy it for $5 or whatever like that. Or you can upgrade to our special premiere bundle, where you get this quick ebook of like, 5 quick hockey tips to survive a kidnapping, something fun. So these are like graphics or photos that you guys put together of your characters, using hockey gear to get away from being kidnapped. And the concept here is like, it's a fun little book that's added to as a bonus feature to your movie package, and you put that into a bundle. But within this little PDF that you create, this little book, you add the most simplistic affiliate links to a bunch of stuff, maybe on Amazon or other shops. So it's like, you want to use what's the name of the main character that your brother plays?
His name's Greg.
Okay, Greg. So it's like, hey, what stick did Greg use? And basically, you can have like a little graphic that says you can buy this stick on Amazon or whatever hockey retailer. So what it is you collect a bunch of products that already exist, that are already tied to the experience of your film. You just have to do the job of curating it in a fun, creative way. Like I said, like a silly ebook of, 5 ways to survive a kidnapping with hockey gear or something like that. And then somebody sees it, and you might end up making a few bucks, because your film and your experience of your film is advertising these actual physical goods that you don't have to manufacture, that you don't have to put in your garage or your warehouse and have to do a fulfillment, like crowdfunding, right? What's crowdfunding? Everybody's like, oh my God, I promised all these t-shirts. I promised all these DVDs. I got to actually pack them, burn them, wrap them up. There's a lot of services out there that do it for you on demand. Create Space from Amazon. Amazon does it. You just set it up, or you can do it fulfilled. They have another service in Amazon where you can basically you can wrap all your bundles together and send this huge box out to a fulfillment center. And then when the orders come in, they'll take care of all the postage and shipping it out and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of companies out there that are doing it. The concept here is to not have to be that guy or those people that, oh my God, we just made the film, that's hard enough. Now we got to figure out how to like make a product that we upsell to like $100.
Yeah.
So this is a really simple way of at least putting a system in place that allows you to profit later. Now, how does that all work with the crowdfunding campaign? Well, what it does is, knowing what your end result is, then you can reverse engineer or backtrack out like what you really need to get out of your crowdfunding. Because if you now can think about the consumer's experience, or somebody's coming in that's a potential lead or backer to your project, if you charm them as you charm me with there's a good nature to you and your brother that's unique. That's like your unique selling point. There's something about twins that look, identical, but there's a passion and there's a honesty and authenticity to what you guys do. You can share what you're working on, how you love films, or you made this cool film. And these are the things that are selling points. It's in Canada. It has a hockey element, and it's a fun, kidnapping thing. But you know what? All of this is a human story behind it, which is we all need to forge our own paths. And now I'm asking you to join in. And these are the cool perks we have. The film is done. You know what? You're not going to worry about it. You're actually going to get a copy. Unlike some other crowdfunding campaigns, you may never see something. You will see a copy. But on top of that, you're going to get a bonus. You're going to, like, if you want, you can pay this $20, $30 price point, and we'll give this fun book, 5 ways to survive a kidnapping, whatever, with hockey gear, other things you got to explore within your film. If you want to throw t-shirts in there or whatever it might be, like you create your own bundle, but the concept, the emotional context of why you're trying to create a bundle is trying to create something to sell an experience that your movie sort of promises, or at least tries to promise, which makes the film not necessarily the focus anymore. Your focus and your marketing message is the experience of what your film is trying to express. You know, what is the bigger picture, the bigger themes, the bigger idea behind it. And then you're putting products around it in a bundle. And then the bundle is just, you know, uh, a nice way of curating all this stuff for your consumer. We see it all the time on Amazon. You're searching for something like camera gear, right? You're looking for like one thing, but if you buy like a lens or a filter, like you'll see like here, but buy this bundle. You'll get the cleaning kit. You might get like a little pack, you know, a little pouch, a carrying case, you know, all this stuff that comes with it. You're like, you know what? Instead of me buying individually all that stuff, this is a nice, you know, package bundle put together with a great price point. You know, it's like this, I'll buy that. You know, if you can use the same mentality with your film, again, you can backtrack that or use that as your, not necessarily crowdfunding. You almost can use it as the crowdfunding is essentially like a sales launch. Like you're going to
Yeah,
offer
like a
these
sales page.
bundles. Yeah. So you're going to offer all these things. Um, but, uh, but you kind of have them pre-made, like, and depending on the number of orders you get, then you can fulfill it. We see it actually on product launches. Sometimes, like I said, the online entrepreneurs, they'll do something where they don't even have a product. They're like, here's an outline for this e-course I'm building, or here's an outline of this software I'm developing.
Hmm.
There's a right now for the lowest price it'll ever be at like $47 lifetime for the first X amount of people can get it at $47. The thing hasn't been built yet, but we want to make sure that people are interested. If they are interested, we will build it. So you set a limit. And so this is not even crowdfunding. This is like online business people doing business.
Hmm.
They are testing out the waters if this software app they want to create this they're using the minimum viable product from Eric Ries's lean startup. This is what they're doing. They're just asking, like they're giving an outline, like this is what I think people want, and I am selling and I'm marketing to this need. And if enough people buy in as a pre-sale at a low price point, then yes, we can make it. You know what else works this way? The independent film market world. Everything that is outside of Hollywood and everybody's trying to get a filmmaker's trying to get a distribution deal, a lot of the distributors and producers, they're working in the confines of raising financing based off pre-sales that are given to them in the foreign film markets. So a producer will then essentially have a project. They don't even have anything. Maybe they don't even have a script, actor, nothing. But the relationships with these international film buyers, they're able to get a pre-sale going. So it's like the foreign buyer says, "Oh, I see what you're doing there. We have a long-standing relationship. I'll give you a pre-sale of $1-2 million," right? So that way they know at least there's a buy-in to make the product. If you approach it that way, you can approach your crowdfunding that way. Unfortunately, a lot of people approach their crowdfunding ideas like we need as much money as possible to make the product.
Yeah.
When we looked at the pie chart before, the problem with that is like all your eggs are in one basket in part of the whole business structure. You're all putting it into a product, and then you realize you don't have funds for the marketing, distribution, or business development and taxes and things like that.
Mhm.
So whereas a business person, if you approach this differently, knowing what you need as your overall operating expense, maybe you need $5,000. So, oh gosh, okay. Even though the film only costs you $500, doesn't matter. But the overall operating expenses to make this thing successful, to make an experience worthwhile for your consumers, you may need to raise $5,000. But as long as you're clear of why you need to raise it, like, oh gosh, we want to spend $1,000 in marketing. We want to have another 1,000 on hold to build out this unique product bundle. We want to have like another for promotion or travels to the events that we're really going to be able to tap into our targeted audience and customer base. So all that kind of stuff, meaning that you need to sort of backtrack it a little bit. Once you know that once it's all finished and launched, you maybe part of that 5,000 that you raise. I'm just throwing up obviously an arbitrary number here,
Mhm.
but maybe if you're straightforward and clear about it, you can say part of the money that we're raising, the film is finished at $500, but we need all these things as part of the business model. Here's the business chart. You can almost, I can give you that chart. You can use it to, for your crowdfunding, to explain to your backers of why you would need all this extra money.
Mm-hmm.
And you might even put in there, we also need to, pay the people that are involved, the actors, the crew, whatever. And, just, be part of that. Be
Mm-hmm.
like, and also be able to pay ourselves to do what we're doing.
So
You're
be
not,
like,
yeah.
obviously the transparency being
Yeah.
key.
Yeah. I mean, there's a way to, you're not asking, it's not like you're asking for like $1 million each. You're
Yeah.
asking, they see that you're bringing to the table the conversation already like a finished product. You have a trailer, you have all these things put in place. And if you show a very robust business plan and explain why you're doing what you're doing and why you would need the money for all that stuff, it's
Mm-hmm.
okay. I think people are afraid to ask. Like, and part of this campaign is that help pay, our expenses or our fees for doing this. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we don't have a large, big crew, and it's not like we're asking, $100,000, whatever like that is. Like,
Mm-hmm.
the interesting thing is the consumer. If I'm watching this, if you share me enough value where you're not overselling, like, help me pay for my salary to do what I'm doing, it's not that you oversell like all the benefits they're going to get. You're going to get the movie, you're going to get this bundle if you go to this next tier, and this really
Mm-hmm.
cool bundle includes all these things. That's already happening in the crowdfunding world, but to use it, the difference is, again, trying to get your head wrapped around, like, why can't you use
Mm-hmm.
crowdfunding to basically do all your initial sales and pre-sales? Hollywood does it already in the film market. That's exactly what they do in all the American film market, Cannes film market, Berlin, Singapore. That's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
So why should we feel embarrassed by doing it on crowdfunding? For a long
It's
time, yeah,
yeah. Oh yeah. I was just gonna say, it's just kind of that stigma, I
yeah.
think is, and I think, yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. And I think it's, oh, it's just for the indie filmmaker who's struggling, or I don't really, yeah, I believe that you could, um, just be, as long as you're transparent and not, asking for a whole lot, and like, and we're just gonna, like, you're not gonna see the product or anything, right?
Yeah, so I think that the main thing here is, if we look back in history, not too long, not a very long history at all, is the blogosphere. When blogging first kind of came out 10 years ago, whatever, like, not first came out, but it was having some popularity about 10, 12 years ago, or 10 years ago.
Hmm.
In the world of the blogosphere, there was a stigma for anybody trying to make money off their blog, because there
Hmm.
was this concept of like, no, no, it's free. The internet's free. Blogs are free. This is our world.
Hmm.
Shame on anybody trying to make money off it. Well, then people started making money off it, and now everybody's trying to make money off their blogs. You know,
It's
so
always that first person sort of thing.
yeah, exactly. So what crowdfunding is, the early stages are where Kickstarter's whole goal was just to give enough money for that filmmaker or that artist to get that kickstarting money to get their project off the ground, so they go to the next tier of investing and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Then it turned out that, like, people were raising all their money for the projects. But the thing,
Hmm.
again, the mentality of the artists, unfortunately, and the filmmakers, are they're raising all their money to make the product, and they're not having anything left over for the other business aspects of things, because we're beginning to see there is no, even though you build a product doesn't mean anybody's going to buy it. So
Hmm.
maybe that's why we don't see a lot of these crowdfunding campaigns fulfill their promise or give us our perks, because they never got it finished, or when it finished,
Hmm.
they don't have enough to actually fulfill the perks. Believe me, this happens all the time.
Hmm.
So the new wave of looking at crowdfunding could be where, like I said, you've built something reasonable. It already exists, and now you need the finishing funds. So you're in a much better place, much better leverage, and by even adding in a little profit margin for yourself, as long as you're transparent, but you don't have to like overstate it. It's literally like in your pitch video to say, this is
Hmm.
where our video, this is where the money, your funds will come in. Where we need money for the marketing here. This bundle expense. our promotion here, and this is our payment to our cast and crew, which also does include my brother and I, blah blah blah. But it's all small. Like it says, like, again, you're not asking a ton in the world, but you don't have to harp on it. You just you are transparent and you say it, because what you really want to do, which is always important, is that your pitch video and everything that about your sales page, that landing page for your crowdfunding campaign, is all about the benefits. Like, and that's marketing. Marketing is all the successful marketers. I'm finishing up this book right now, but it's an old book, but it's an old book on advertising. It says that all advertising and marketing have to sell the benefits to the consumer. There always has to be a promise. So like everything about your page and your offering about your campaign, just give as much value and highlight and market and promote the benefits. So let's talk about that. Let's just imagine you're running this crowdfunding campaign for the wrong people now, trying to get the finishing funds. Let's talk about the benefits. What would be the benefits that could be added to, like, me being brand new? Like, I don't even know anything about you guys, but something about a blog post or something got out there on the social media world where I was interested enough that I clicked something. So when I clicked it, I saw your crowdfunding page. What are the overarching benefits that can be given to this person who's brand new? So you're like, oh man, that's a hard one. Well, let me ask you, like, if you were brand new to a crowdfunding campaign, what would you like to see?
See, I've contributed to a few campaigns, and I'm trying to think of like what um, obviously
Yeah.
knowing a little bit about the person beforehand. But for random ones, um, it, I always, I always get hooked into the idea of doing like the no-brainer perk, where it's $5 for the download and a special thanks and the credits or something. So I think I mean, it's probably not really answering your question that well, but I like that's a really good, it keeps you on the page for at least, maybe a minute longer. Maybe check out, it's almost like this progressive thing, but if you go instantly to a random page and it's like, a shout out on Twitter for $500, it's like, you kind of roll your eyes and close the page. I don't know. That's, I know that really stands out for me. But for our little project, yeah, huge benefits of,
Well,
yeah, it's something
yeah.
I
It's a little bit hard,
put
I
on the
know.
spot. Yeah.
Well, here, okay, from an outsider's perspective, there's one way, like what you said, it was interesting, like what you contributed to. Say somebody's going in cold, and
Mhm.
the first thing they see, obviously, is the video. As long as the thumbnail is very engaging, maybe it's the picture of you and your brother, and with a finger, like, click here, just literally something that says, like, click here.
Mhm.
Just because your faces are already on the screen as a thumbnail. There's something about the that's why you see it all on YouTube all the time on thumbnails. I've been experimenting with that as well, but there's something about connecting with somebody's face. Like, that's what makes an interesting thumbnail, or something, like an interesting image.
Mhm.
So the thumbnail is as important as the movie poster. So it could just be a straight call to action, just you two guys, fingers pointing. It's real straightforward. Click here. So they click it. And as long as they see maybe the video runtime, it's like 3 minutes or something. Sometimes when people see like little time code is like 20 minutes, like,
Hour
oh
long.
God, yeah. But if you can make it short, so
Mhm.
subconsciously they know, okay, I'm not going to waste my time. And introduce yourselves right away. It's like, I'm Jamie. Your brother's name is Greg. Wait,
Dan.
Dan, that's right. But he plays the character Greg. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is my brother, Jamie, Dan. We're twins, huh? Twins, obviously. We're up in Columbia, and then all this type of stuff about who we are very, very quickly. And he goes, and we made this film. It's already done, but we're just looking for help on the finishing funds. But you know what? That's what we're looking for. But this is what we can offer you. So that they hide things, like, immediately try to get into the benefits for me, the brand new viewer. It's
Mhm.
like people know a lot now. They're a little bit more savvy, like why crowdfunding campaigns are coming. You know, we don't
Hmm.
need to hear the same thing, like, oh, I really need your help. This is why it means so much to me. It's like,
Hmm.
you know what? Enough about you. What
Yeah.
what perks are in what are you offering that is a benefit to me? And as long as you get off you what your needs are, and then
Hmm.
selling the benefits, you can say like, look, for the most easy perk, you know, for $1, stuff like that, you will actually get a rental or for, you know, of the film that's
Hmm.
finished. It's finished, but you would actually get it once we have our launch date. So that's done, you know. But you really want to step it up, you could go the $5 or the $10 route. And the $10 route, this is what's benefit to you. You're going to get the film. You're going to get this bundle. Look at what we created here, and you can show, like, do a highlight. Like, here's, you know, Dan, you know, with all this hockey gear. If you want to know how this works out, this is a quick, you know, ebook or photo book that we've created, you know, or something like that. On top of that, the cool thing about our film, or that we're excited about, is that it has a theme about forging your own path, you know, and then try to connect with the viewer. Like, have you ever felt stuck? You know, you could do, if you really want to do this correctly, obviously you look at what other successful crowdfunding campaigns videos have done, or go opposite or go different and start trying to find old infomercials, because this is what this is. We're online, but what we're doing is essentially an infomercial, you
Yeah.
know. And there's a pattern to the way infomercials are done, that, you know, you lead with a lot of questions. The idea is that asking a lot of questions in your video, all geared towards the benefit, adding benefit to the potential consumer watching your stuff.
Hmm.
You're trying to lead them down this path where they're interested in knowing what the answer is to that question that you proposed. And
Hmm.
then if the answer is tied into some benefit, and the benefit, when I say that, is one of your bundles, you know,
Hmm.
and then you can end it there. But maybe if you want to have a longer conversation, because what you said was interesting, like, depending on who you already know, you're more inclined to like contribute to that campaign.
Hmm.
That is the whole sales process of know, like, and trust. We tend to buy something from somebody we already know, that we already like, and then we trust them. So if somebody's coming cold, they have to get to know who you are. They have to really like you, and I think as long as you be yourselves, you guys will be fine, and get to that point where they trust you. And as long as you keep harking back, like, the film is finished, you know, it's not like you're not going to see something, and like all these cool perks is like we can fulfill it. Like I say, as long as you go into it with a game plan, knowing like how you're going to fulfill each perk. Like,
Hmm.
that's what I'm saying with your business, the business pie chart, really knowing like how effectively you can immediately send out a perk once the campaign's over, because you want that experience. You want to earn that trust and keep that trust. Because if I donate to your campaign, my experience is like, oh, cool. I want to do it. I'm going to donate some money, or I'm going to give some money to them. And
Hmm.
then the cool thing is, you're talking about building an audience. You really have to keep engaged with that audience, that, you know, not just updates, but really great updates, you know?
Hmm.
So they can be as simple as just you and your brother on video saying, hey, thank you so much. You know, if everybody's done this, this is where we are with our goals. If you know anybody that would be interested in this, please let them know. There's a big share button down below. It goes, but we want, you know, that's about us. That's what we're doing here. Let's talk about like what other benefits are to you. You know what I mean? Like, wherever you can, try to get it off of what you're doing and put it back onto your fans or your consumers, just to
Hmm.
build that loyalty. And then
For sure.
always end every video or every piece of email that you send out with some sort of call to action, that either one gets them to promote your crowdfunding campaign to other people, or some other call to action that just makes them feel part of your journey. Like, you've invited them into your journey, so you got to keep them up to date with your journey. And so that way, when you finally launch, you want that experience to be great. You want people like, I really enjoyed the Francis brothers. You know, it's just like, that was just fun. I don't even care if the movie's good or not. I just like them. Honestly, like, we're in this place where sometimes our films may not have to be that great, you know, meaning that if we're personable and then people like us, there's sort of like this rooting for the underdog. Like, that's cool. I just like
Hmm.
what you do. Oh, cool. I'll check out what you're doing. And if your film delivers, like that was even better than I expected. I just like these guys. That's cool that they made something cool. But once the campaign ends, it should be a celebration. Even if you don't make it the goal, or you do make the goal, or how you want to set up your structure, but immediately give them some kind of gift, or some kind of the benefit right away, so
Mhm.
that whole experience is pleasurable, because that's how you build your loyal fans.
Mhm.
Like I said, how many people have we donated to other campaigns that essentially kind of just took the money, And I mean, and we all kind of remember that stuff. Like, oh yeah, yeah, I remember, giving money to that guy, and that you can quickly. That's it. Like that's your one impression. So
Mhm.
if you want to go back and try to do it again, your crowdfunding campaign, and you want to get a little bit more money, how
Mhm.
much, how are you going to get those same people that already donated you the first time that you didn't take care of very
Yeah.
well to ask them to do it again? So,
Mhm.
I think just that, but I think everybody's probably listening to this like, yeah, that's what they all say in the crowdfunding stuff. You're supposed to do this. But
Mhm.
do they? We all have bad experience with crowdfunding, or people have done them their own, have
Mhm.
had like it's more work than ever thought it could be. So you have to
Mhm.
prepare yourself like we are in launch mode. But any entrepreneur who's doing any product launch outside of crowdfunding is working like crazy, because you're pushing so much effort to try to get as many leads to your sales page, which is your crowdfunding page. And you're
Mhm.
trying to get people to convert. So you get people there, but how many people are actually donating? How many people are actually converting to give you money? There's a
Mhm.
huge chasm that way. And that's
Yeah.
why you have to work so hard at making that sale, making that conversion. And then you got to work so hard to maintain that relationship so that you're doing it all for them, not for you, but you're doing it all for them so they have the best ex- experience. It's like you are throwing the best party, but you're doing it online, right?
Mhm.
So it's like you're hosting it. So you want to make sure everybody's taken care of. There's enough drinks and hors d'oeuvres and food and entertainment. Just the whole experience when they come out of that, um, they feel transformed.
Mhm.
Whereas every time I've seen enough crowdfunding campaigns, it's like, um, yeah, you can kind of tell now after being burned enough to like whether or
Mhm.
not a filmmaker has their act together, you know,
Mhm.
like whether or not they are going to do what they're going to do, say they're going to do, and whether or not they're going to take care of you.
Mhm.
And so if you approach it with that mindset, then I think you're ready to launch your crowdfunding campaign to do all the finishing funds and add a little profit in for yourself. If it costs you $500, add the $500 profit margin that way that you built in. You know what I mean? That who's to say that the next step of crowdfunding can't be that? It
Mhm.
can't be the same thing that the online entrepreneurs are doing, which is when they launch a minimal viable product and they're getting all these pre-sales in, that they don't add in a little bit of profit into it. You know,
Mhm.
as long as it's straightforward and transparent. But a person like me wouldn't care if knowing that you're making a profit off it, as long as I know that you've done everything you can to make sure that the benefits and the offerings are valuable to me as a consumer, because that's what everybody's going to look at. They're not going to be thinking about you. They're going to be thinking about themselves.
Mhm.
If they're going to donate to you, is because one, they want to make themselves feel good. So if you want to play like, the pity card, or like the beggar, you could try that angle. But the thing is that most people, you know, only I can't even pronounce the word, altruistically do that. That
Mhm.
give that they give because they want to make themselves feel better. So
Mhm.
it's one of those things. Again, as long as you can understand that everybody's watching you in your crowdfunding campaign is from the perspective of being selfish, you need to
Mhm.
give them as much benefit to those self needs as much as possible.
Mhm.
So
Totally.
anyway, I kind of babbled a lot.
No, no, I really like what you have to say. Yeah, I totally agree. I think the yeah, creating that like coming off, like getting it off you as quickly as possible. Um, I think it's quite refreshing because I think there's, I mean, like you're saying, like it's all rules that people say they have to do, like, and people like when they crowdfund, and then you go to 99, 100 campaigns, and 99 have like, oh, please give us everything for this movie. Like it's you still don't see it a lot. You don't see I mean, only really the ones that do really well. You see them actually offering a benefit, and it's not about getting off the person making the thing and
Yeah.
getting that benefit. I think that's a great way of doing it. Obviously, you should be doing it that way. But
Yeah. I mean,
but
it's a it's the experience of somebody selling goods or services to a consumer, supply
mhm,
and demand. So for me, you can get, like I said, your benefit could be like, hey, if you're a fan of hockey, Canadian hockey and stuff like this, and maybe use terminology that connects with their audience like that, it's like, then you're going to love this package, this bundle package perk that we put together, because this is the benefit to you. And you can even use the word, just overuse the word, the benefit to you, the benefit to you.
mhm.
It's like this subconscious thing where somebody's watching, like, okay, what's the benefit to me? Like either they're going to be like, yeah, that's a pretty cool benefit. That's a cool benefit. And if they're not, you go, and if you're not interested in hockey, but you're going to love this film anyway, because we all have this need to forge our own path. Goes, and then you can say, have you ever felt like you've been pushed in the corner, or you had to live somebody else's rules by somebody else's rules or somebody else's life, then you're going to love this bundle package we put together for you. And the benefit to you is that, this champions this need to forge our own path. Here's this t-shirt, like, the whole
Mhm.
point is like, if it's a cool t-shirt, but you're being a salesperson by saying like, this is the emotional connection to this theme of our movie, which is sometimes we get pushed to the corner or around where we just want to fight back to do what? We want to forge our own path. And you know what? And this t-shirt, this simple t-shirt that we designed represents this mindset, where that you can wear it every day as a reminder that says, I need to forge my own path. And there's like a little symbol for your movie, whatever, in a corner. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you need to create your own world. You need to create your own experience for your consumers. And it could be the smallest number of people that come, to your campaign. But if you get in the habit of providing benefits, providing value, and always putting them first, it'll help drive your creativity. And then you won't put your film as so precious. Then you won't, because if you build up your film to be so precious and the expectations are so high, your consumers may be disappointed. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what they really are buying into is all the other things you're selling,
Mhm.
the hockey gear, this mindset of forge your own path or whatever it might be, all the merchandise that goes around that. Like, that's what they're connecting to. And the film is just a amplifier for this bigger idea. And
Mhm.
if you could approach it that way, then you have a better chance, I think, of success and more and creatively more fulfilled and connecting with your audience.
Mhm. Totally.
So I don't know if that helped. I know this is such a spur of the moment thing we kind of did
No,
here.
it's been great.
So, but
Any chance to talk to you, Scott. Yeah, it's I listen to you almost every day if on your podcasts, and yeah, just I love what you're trying to do out there, and I'm not trying to doing. And I ended up watching The Cube actually a couple days ago.
I did. I saw the review. Thank you so
It was
much.
great. It was really good. I love I mean, very similar to up here. Like you don't see a lot of. It's weird how much you don't see like Oregon or set in Oregon. I don't know. There's something about like they shoot a lot of movies in Vancouver
Hmm.
and stuff, and but it's always like, oh, this is supposed to be New York, and they never.
Yeah.
It's refreshing to actually um the scenery and stuff. I don't know. There's something about that, and I think I'm so used to it here, but I think you were mentioning it's kind of unique having that kind of stuff in for say this project, and we have a lot of that. But it's something I don't even think about. But coming from you, it's kind of opened my eyes on some things. But yeah, this has
Yeah.
been awesome.
It's interesting. Even people that lived here for a long time, somehow framing like a a location that people know about, but to
Mhm.
see it on film, it has like this weird way, like, oh, I know that place.
Yeah.
Like it's like, but I never really saw it that way before. And there's a sense of magic. And that's why we're doing these movies, why we make movies, why we want to make movies, because we were inspired as young people
Mhm.
watching movies that sort of basically curated and collected in a very clean way, like our a dream perspective. So when
Mhm.
you obviously when you look through a camera, you're like, if I just shift it this way or that way, it tells a different story, or I can create a mood like that.
Mhm.
And you're connecting that way. And that's, it's fun when, like you said, we have this ability just to walk outside and these trees and
Mhm.
terrain and like rivers and lakes and oceans and like, oh my gosh, like all this stuff is right in front of me. If I just take the camera and point this way, it
Mhm.
creates a mood already. Then you stick like a knucklehead actor like myself in front of it without a crew behind it. And then if you say something halfway intelligent, it might be interesting. I don't know, but it's glad to see. I liked their trailer a lot because I was thinking there's like this just your terrain is like I can relate to, but it's neat to see your own personal story in that area, and like
Mhm.
your location is a character for your film, and maybe part of your crowdfunding campaign type thing could actually highlight some of that stuff. Like I said, from an outsider's perspective, this is probably helpful to you. There's something genuinely sweet about you and your brother, making films together, but you have a very nice demeanor together that I think is your unique selling point. Because that's why I say if the first thing comes on is just you and your brother, like, hey, we're your Francis brothers. We love to make movies, and this is what we're doing. Just be yourselves doing that, and I think you
Mhm.
can win over a lot of fans. Because there's you have an authenticity to you guys, and I think you should really capitalize on that.
Oh, well, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
That's
So
been great. I guess I'll let you go, or you.
yeah, we can wrap it up here in an hour. I will follow you up with all the other stuff we're working on. And
Awesome.
I probably should do, let's see here. What am I doing here? Oh yeah, I'll do this real quick. So we were talking about the cube, and that goes hand in hand to, oh wait, where's this? Of me paying my bills. So listen, if anyone is, if you guys stuck around this long, then you shouldn't go away empty handed. And if you are stuck trying to make your film right now, then I offer you to go over to freegearguide.com, where you can get an equipment list of everything I use to make a feature film for $500 without a crew over at freegearguide.com. And before I sign off here, I would love Jamie to say goodbye to everybody. Want to say goodbye to everybody?
Yeah, thanks for stopping by. And
Awesome. Yeah, and that ends our this session of Film Trooper Presents Film Marketing Fridays. I'm Scott McMahon. Just head on over to filmtrooper.com and you can find out more of what we're doing over there. Thanks.